Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, hello to everybody and a belated Merry Christmas. Want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. And I'm sure there's going to be more coming in, drifting by, and stopping to say hello and everything else. Please make sure that to say a belated Merry Christmas. And of course, well wishes of a Happy New Year. Patricia, hello. Laura Croft, thank you very much. And Carrie Lawson, hello. Kate Yu, thank you very much. Katrina Rustova, thank you very much. CP Clippy, is that cosplay by any chance? Or is it CP Sippy? Maria Davis, thank you. Thank you. Find Summer's Truth. Bailey TT, thank you. Thank you for all coming out tonight. How was. Yeah, I added an L, but it's CP Sippy. Yeah, you're still cosplay to me. Laura, we're going to talk about 2024. We're going to get into that in just a moment. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. If anybody hears something making noise in the background, I do have my usual ice water, and the ice is cracking tonight. As always, everybody, I want to thank you 1,000 times over for being patient with me during the busy time of year for my work. And we're getting back to being live again and talking about true crime stories and what kind of direction we're heading into for the new year. That's what I really wanted to come on tonight and talk about. We won't be long. I'm not going to have a long live tonight. Does anything happen exciting for anybody that they'd love to share and talk about? But we're waiting for more people to come in, hopefully. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I always forget about that. My mods are awesome. Thank you very much. They always remember that I am absolutely the worst at that. Is everybody following the story about the pregnant teenager Nicole Soto today? Absolutely horrible, horrible story. You didn't tell me? I still owe you an IHOP dinner. You got to tell me one of these times. So everybody knows what I'm talking about. I've owed you an IHOP dinner, all you can eat pancake or whatever it is that IHOP does for like over a year. Oh goodness, it's terrible. Absolutely. And the news is coming out today. I mean, granted, it's all like been a rush. They really started putting a focus on this yesterday, and they found her today. And the latest thing I heard that she's been deceased for 3 to 4 days now. The latest news I heard is that they believe that she has been dead for 3 or 4 days now. It's absolutely. I'm glad I don't understand the mentality. I'm going to put it this way. I'm glad I don't understand the mentality of family annihilation or having having the uh, uh, mentality of if I can't have you, nobody else can, or anything along those lines. Because, in all honesty, that's what this screams. Let's put it where it belongs. This belongs in the same category as the dumbass. Excuse me, before way I'm saying it, as the dumbass Watson and what he did to his precious family. Granted, she was 18 years old, probably did not plan to become pregnant at 17, 18 years old, but did so. And twice in a year and a half, a horrible, unthinkable, unimaginable tragedy has befell this family. First, it was her 15-year-old brother, and now her. And the baby, which nobody will ever get to know. It's horrible. CP Sippy, I cosplay. I don't think so. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not possible, but I really, really don't think so. I think it was that until evidence comes out, I really believe this falls into the same category as Watson. And I'm going to say it this way: men, women, if your relationship with your significant other that you at one time thought were head over heels in love with and going to spend the rest of your life with that person, if something changes and you decide you can't stand that person, it's better to pay child support for 18 to 21 years depending on what state you are in, because some states will include college. It's better for you to pay child support for 18 to 21 years than to be a national headline. Thank you, cosplay. I'm old. It's going to take a moment. Give me a moment on that. Miss Justice, I'm doing good. I thank you for asking. How are you? You're right, Patricia. It is very sad to see this happening at Christmas time. First, and here's the sad thing about this. Here's the sad thing about this. That the family that the tragedy has fallen on losing a 15-year-old and now an 18-year-old of their family. Their name gets dragged through the mud because of what happened in a courtroom. I think it was June, July, this summer. And not the tragedy that's befell this family. I got 20 people in here tonight. I know a lot of people probably don't have my notifications because it's been a while since I've been live or whatnot, and I'm sure people will come around in just a bit when they realize I'm here. I just dropped to 18, but I only got 3 or 4 people chatting. There's plenty of room and time for you to join and chat with us. You know, I'll say it again. Men and women, it's better to pay. And this is probably just an obvious statement. It's better to pay child support for the next 18 to 21 years than it is to be a national headline. I think that's what strikes me the most about this. And anytime I hear a family annihilation type of story, if you can't stand being with the person that much, walk away. I could be completely wrong, and we'll have to wait for all the information to come out. But I really, really think this is a situation where he was abusive, and it's been documented that he's abusive. And he really just did not want to have a kid by her. Making a cup of chai. Is that chai latte, baby? Some chai latte tea? Because that is one of my favorite things to have at night. Ooh, belly TT, don't go and do that. I understand. Yummy. That's a great cup of tea to have at this time of year, Lar. Chai latte? You know, I don't know the full story of what happened. I can say, since she's 18 years old, she was absolutely a beautiful young woman. And it's a shame. She was a beautiful young woman, and her baby did not deserve what happened. San Antonio had issued a clear alert on the 25th after she was being reported missing since the 22nd. From every description I see, if you're familiar with things, since a lot of people are familiar with things surrounding Summer Wells with Tennessee, how Tennessee works, it's basically like a silver alert. She's an adult. They're just worried about her whereabouts, and they issue an alert. So not only just the police, but public can say, "Hey, I've seen this person. They're at such and such, or we're hanging out in this neighborhood," type of deal. And not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. More information is coming out. They were found in a Kia Optima in a garage, but no reports of any weapons being present. That's interesting. 10-year-old Kia Optima. Hello, Butterfly Kisses. How are you tonight? No, Laura, you're right. We don't always do the right thing at that age. We're still forming and becoming formidable about a lot of things. And this past weekend is a great display of sometimes, no matter what side of a hot topic you sit on, even as adults in their 40s or 50s, don't think with a clear conscience and make the right decision of what to say and what not to say or how to act in a situation either. And I'll let you draw conclusions to who I'm inferring in that. Laura, the information I was seeing is that yes, they were in a garage. They're found in the car, and it's possible that they were there for 3 to 4 days now. Ray True Colors. I don't trust him, but I'll be gladly to look into it. That's just news that was coming out today that it's possible that Grant has had a stroke. But when somebody likes to repeat the content of other creators 2 and 3 months later and try to repackage it as brand new information, I tend not to trust that person. It's one thing if a person says they never heard that and they learn about it, but it's another thing when a person intentionally takes information and and tries to repackage it as if it was their own. Laura, that's an interesting point. Jam 420, how are you? It's been a moment, I know. But Laura, that's actually a very interesting point. I haven't seen anything yet, and I could be missing something. Do say that she was actually like a high school in a high school senior, or if she dropped out of college, high school, or she was already in college. Um, the only thing I'm seeing is that she missed a essential medical appointment. Since it's essential and that she's 41 weeks, they were talking about in another news article that the one I'm not looking at right now. They were talking about she was going to be getting induced. So I believe that is possibly the medical appointment she missed. Um, they this is That's where part of the concern was coming from. And forgive me, I am going as I'm saying these things. I am looking at a news site from San Antonio, looking at ABC News, looking for other news sources to find out more information as we're talking about it. So um, that's why I'm saying this is information I'm finding right now as we're talking about it. But Laura, as far as I'm aware, because she's 18 years old and pregnant, or at least this far along pregnant, she probably would not have been in school if she was in high school. They would have probably said it was a risk content, a risk assessment that was too high for her to be in school, and have been homeschooling her or distant learning. Jim, I heard you had been sick. I didn't know if it was somebody had said a cold and the flu. Be careful because the flu has been nasty from what I understand this year. Annabelle, thank you very much for coming out. How are you doing this evening? But as far as I'm aware, Laura, there is supposed to be when a situation of a uh, if they were in high school or one of them was in high school, she would have been counseled by a counselor or had family contacted or something like those. There's measures that they would have taken if they had observed behavior or signs of an issue. And it's not reporting because she is 18 years old to Child Protective Services or whatever the state of Texas calls it. Um, they there would have been steps that the school would have taken because she's over the age of 18 and pregnant if she was in school. Oh, I agree. I agree. I think that's something that in junior high and eighth grade, ninth grade, possibly 10th grade, have some sort of class. Make it part of public health or the health education, whatever that you get taught. The ages that they're still having the segregated. This is boys. This is girls. Public health. Because how boys handle it and how girls handle it is the difference between night and day. Chloe Jade, how are you? You know, this is something I love about our channel is that we start conversations, and this is why I want my channel this long ago. Is we start these conversations. We take a look at what is really going on right now, and we take a look at what can we do coming out of this. Not just be like, yes, it is a tragedy, it is a horrible situation, but what can we do to help prevent it for the next step? Hello, Luminous. Linda Wilson, hello, hello. Looks like some people have made some name changes in the past couple months. Hello, Linda Wilson. Thank you. Hello, hello. Well, see, it does say CP cosplay. From the StreamYard side, it really doesn't. It's different than what it shows up on the YouTube side. Okay, so you really want to know how I feel about that? I'm going to word this very, very carefully. I predicted this was going to happen. Back when Sour Cream had had a family member pass away, I went live that night, and I was very concerned about behavior that she was displaying then. I said that this was going to be happening. She was in a downward spiral, and when the spiral really, really got to the tipping point, pun intended, it was going to be out of control. She was going to be out of control. And that's exactly what you saw. Is a person that needs help being out of control. She was right about one thing, and one thing only. In her little tirade or everything that she has been saying this past weekend, being on YouTube exposes yourself to being in a world that is similar to Truman Show. And nothing else did she say to Sherry and to anybody else that was either a SA victim or somebody that had to do what Sherry had made the decision of doing. No matter my standpoint of what I think is right and wrong, Sour Cream had no reason, no right to stand, and no ability, should have never uttered, again, pun intended, those words. To re-victimize Sherry like she did is unacceptable. Lara Croft, you're exactly right. Karma is dealing with her. And before anybody goes says, "Oh, that's so new age," or it's actually a biblical thing that was speaking into fruition. She has caused this onto herself. Do I believe that she is the only but one influencing, or how she's being influenced to this? 100%. I believe there is something else going on that's influencing her. But being on YouTube is like being in the Truman Show because everybody looks to you when you decide to hit that go live button, that looks to you to say, is this going to be a train wreck that I can't take my eyes off of? Or is this person going to be a positive contribution? No matter what anybody's faith is, no matter how my opinion of her is, I hope everybody prays for her, sends her positive vibes, positive energy, everything you can muster, because she, if she's doing this out of desperation for people's attention, good God, that's horrible. If she's doing this out of ignorance, then I hope she learns. But this channel, myself, I used to say this all the time. My mods will tell you. If you're a victim of a DV, SA, or any kind of victim along those lines, this is a channel that stands beside you. Abuse is not acceptable. We stand beside the victims. Not that they need anything but to be heard. They need to be heard. And if this is a platform that they wish anybody that is a victim of DV or SA to speak, wants to speak, you're welcome to anytime. I don't care what kind of agenda I have set or anything like that. If you want to speak about a situation, you're welcome to anytime. But what she did, whether intentional or unintentional, is unacceptable. A victim of DV and SA needs to be shown compassion, love, and that people stand with them. We don't have to be behind them to support them. We just have to stand with them. There's a reason that um, the biker group, um, I can't remember the biker group name. You guys will know the biker group in just a moment. You know, when a child is a victim of DV or SA, and they're going to go to court, and somebody contacts this group saying, hey, you know, this kid needs an outpouring of support. The biker group shows up, makes them a member of the group, the whole 9 yards. It's not that they show up in the courtroom, and they show up, it's just a line of defense. They're not doing they're not doing that to say you have to do this, but you're saying you do this to retake the control, the power that somebody tried to take away from you. The only thing I can say, and if you saw Justin for All a couple nights ago, I had said that that me and my ex-wife, we had lost a baby during pregnancy, and I saw the mental of and emotional of what my ex-wife went through because she had to have a D&C. For her own health, she had to have a D&C. I can't imagine what somebody of SA, a victim of SA, has to go through. It must be worse. And that's why we stand beside victims. We stand with you. I hope that answers how I feel about what Sour Cream had done, what she said, and if there's any doubt of what I stand on that, please let me know. Because I really don't think there is a doubt. Being re-victimized like that is just as atrocious as the act. Sherry, if you ever get wind of this, my mods put my email in my chat room, and you're welcome to email me. If you ever want to just jump into live and stop in and say hello, you're welcome to do so. Butterfly kisses, it would take an extraordinary act of love. One that is not humanly possible. It's spiritually given. I am 100% convinced of that. I want to be clear that I'm not on here trying to be like I told you so or anything like that. But back when she had lost a family member, I had put a concern out there back then that she was not in a position of good standing, and it was not going to this that it was not going to end well. It was going to end up being like it was. Did I predict 100% of exactly what happened? No, but I said this was going to be it was going to get ugly and it was going to get bad. I said people were going to use her, they were going to bring her down, and she's not going to see it. Chloe, you're right. They do. Chloe Jade, you are absolutely right. They do. And here's the thing about it. Here's the thing about it. You know, I've been on Ziggy's channel. I've poked fun. I've joked around. I've been on Justin for All on his secondary channel. Um, Joked about it. Had some fun about it. I know my sense of humor is dry and more dry, sarcastic, and it's not easy to pick up sometimes. But never have I ever, and never would I ever disparage her. The things I've said, and I believe that Ziggy said, and I can't speak for them, Justin for All, and everybody else has sat back and watched and been like, "Holy cow! Do you guys not see what's going on?" This time is no pun intended. It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable that so many people have blindly followed her. And then the train wreck happens. You saw a grown woman have to grab a box of Kleenexes or napkins or tissues or whatever it may be on a live because of what was being said about her past. It's not my place to judge. It's not her place to judge. It's not her place to sit there and go, "You're going to hell because you did this." You don't know how many times that woman begged for forgiveness for having to feel like no other decision is possible for her to do. When I didn't see it live, when I heard about it, my heart broke for Sherry. I think many, many others, Katarina Rostova, Chloe Jade, you guys agreeing with me. Thank you very much. But I don't mean, I think many, many people, their heart broke for Sherry. And I hope that that Sherry feels the out love, the outpour of love that humanity has shown her, and not a despicable person or despicable act of a person. Yeah, Luminous, I agree. I don't understand how she has subscribers or people that haven't gone and discontinued her their memberships. And but I personally, if I had ever said anything like that, I would expect to come on a live, or all of a sudden in the middle of live, all my the thousand subscribers that I members or whatever the YouTube language is, not monetized. So whichever the correct one is, I don't care. But I'd expect that to go to zero and to be nobody in the chat. And I would expect to have Carrie cosplay Miss Justice in blasting me in the chat saying, you can't say that. Because those three ladies hold me accountable. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to Carrie and cosplay. Miss Justice, you and I need to still talk offline about something. I forgot to email you. It just clicked in my mind. Um, Actually, you have Carrie's email, correct? If you do still. Or no, my email was just posted in the chat a little bit ago. Do me a favor, shoot me an email. I'll let you know what my mind's thinking about, and see if you're okay with it and whatnot. But anyway, that's a whole other story from like 3-4 months ago. Back to right the moment. Um, see, see. But my point of bringing that up and saying that Carrie cosplay and Miss Justice would to hold me accountable is there's many times where I've gone ahead and thrown a question to them and been like, "Am I way off base on thinking here?" And it's just to make sure that I don't come out here and say, and we'll talk through it. If they think I'm like off, or if they don't think I'm seeing something from a different perspective that I need to, trust me, they tell me. They will tell me without a shadow of doubt. They will tell me, and we'll talk it out. We've actually argued a few times over points, debated hard. No, Katerina, what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is that no, you're right. I wouldn't come on here and make statements like that. You are correct. I might be a guy, but I don't have brass ones to make a statement like that because I know that it's not called for. It's not necessary. It's not correct. One of the first, I've always worked in a particular type of telemarketing where people call you. It's and I've never been, with the exception of one job, I've never not really been any good or ever really focused on sales. Okay, just not that type of person. I really think, and I've been this way since I've been working, and I can't tell you what I can say about this particular job I had when I was 18 years old. I one of the lines that came with that we had to answer to was an SA crisis hotline for a particular county. I would never have the brass ones to say the things that she said because I know how hard it was sometimes for a female to call that crisis line and have to hear that a guy answered the phone. When I had that call come in, the only information I asked for is, "Hey, I just need your initials and I need your phone number, and I will have your counselor call you back." Because I knew they didn't want to be on the phone with me any longer than they had to be. I'm supposed to get their first and last name, but I wouldn't do it. I would just get their initials. That way, there was no possibility that they would ever, have to worry about I figure out who they are or anything like that. But yeah, no. What sour cream did, what she said, the only thing that she said that was correct. Katerina Rosova, yes, hang on 1 second. Let me just finish this point and I'll be more than happy to go on to another topic. The only thing that she said, and she didn't understand the point she was making, because goodness knows she's tried to make it about the earth is flat. That's a whole nother story. Is that exposing yourself and being on YouTube, becoming a creator is like being on the Truman Show. Good, bad, or ugly, people will watch. Chloe, exactly. The chat's telling you, Laura Croft. When I saw your comment here, I was like, oh, what did Chloe say? And my when I saw your comment saying vampires feed off of negativity, we're gonna come back to that comment in a moment. But Katerina, what is it that you want to know? You once discussed. You heard part of the dispatch call that wasn't part of the recording. Okay, so I live in a part of Kingsport that is in Hawkins County. And no, Katerina, I know exactly what you were talking about. So I didn't have the Broadcastify feed that I heard. I had a police scanner. And what I heard from the time that the dispatcher sent out the call is that there was an officer on Light Hollow Road and he dropped his assignment or his normal patrol to start searching on Beach Creek Road. That was not on Broadcastify. That is not what Broadcastify captured. I don't know why Broadcastify did not capture that. It was clearly after the dispatch started sending information out and getting units to respond to the Wells property, Ben Hill Road. That this one officer changed his assignment and started patrolling and searching for the description but that was being put out there for summer. Now, let's remember, it's very, very easy for this officer, and please, if anybody ever comes across this, yes, you're welcome to clip that. But please also include this or add a clip to it, whatever you want to do. However those work, because I don't mess with them. It's not the officer's fault that he ever did not find Summer Wells on Beach Creek Road, on Ben Hill Road, or any adjacent road, because the description of Summer Wells changed 6 times. 6 freaking times in 24 hours. It's not the officer's fault that he couldn't. If Summer Wells was walking down Ben Hill Road or walking down Beach Creek Road, it's not the officer's fault that he couldn't find a child on a bad description. If you want to clip that, please, I have no problem with you doing so. I have no problem with you saying that a local resident heard this. The thing about it is I want to stress the bit about the 6 times of a description change. description went from being a 4-year old to a 6-year old to a 5-year old. Then it went from being her outfit was one thing to another thing, and then even a third thing. And I don't remember what order that the outfit was in. I know the age was right. That it went from being 4 to 6 to 5. Hawkins County, for all the blunders and mistakes and everything else that has happened, whether it's related to Summer Wells or not, they were there within minutes and searching. Yes, Miss Justice, exactly. Even the pictures were largely different. You went from having a picture that was approximately Christmas time, going by the decor of the church and the kind of dress she would have been wearing that somebody most likely gave her, because there's Don Wells and Candace Wells or Grandis were not going to go out and buy that girl, that little girl that looked like a velour or a crush of velvet dress. It was a gorgeous dress that she was wearing. And quite appropriate for somebody her age. Whether it's velour or crushed velvet or some faux material that looks exactly the same, but ladies, I'm sure you know, can give names of materials that I don't have a clue about that are exactly the same. But she was very prettily dressed, if that is such a word. And that's just one photo that sticks out in my mind. Ava, exactly. Exactly. That of all the things that have ever happened in Summer Wells, I always go back to that. I really do. And I can't help but say searching for her was doomed from the start. There were so many problems with searching for her from the very get-go, and 99% of them are not the police's fault. Okay, maybe it's more like 95%. Majority of the problem was not was the deception from the parents from the get-go, because they couldn't give an accurate description of what their own child looked like. We don't need to sit there and directly talk to Don Wells, Candace Wells, any of them. They sit there and go, how many hundreds of interviews have they done? And their best reflection of who she is my daughter. We've ranted and raved. Her name is Summer Moon Utah Wells. Say your child's name. And they refuse. Yes, Chloe, exactly. The photos from the last 6 months of summer. She looks sad in her eyes. There was a deep sadness in her eyes. She looked emaciated. Sorry, there was a. I gotta clean my glasses. Sorry. The pic with her and the other little girl, Summer, was hunched over and really pale. That one haunts me. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Thank you, Carrie. Summer Moon, Utah Wells, 6/15/2021. Does everybody realize that the beginning of December was 900 days? I believe it's now 920 days. Or that it adds up to being that she's been missing. Just checking my numbers real quick. $924 days. 2 years, 6 months, 1 week, and 4 days. If nobody has heard, and I heard it mentioned briefly earlier today, they identified the child that was found in Grayson County in Virginia. I think it was Justin For All that said it a couple days ago. It doesn't make sense that they would get the DNA for a profile from the wells. It's another thing we had said on this channel, that we were confident that it didn't make sense as this would have anything to do with Summer Wells. And when I say we, I do mean cosplay. I do mean Carrie. And Miss Justice, I don't remember if you were part of that, or I know you weren't part of that conversation, but we had said that it doesn't make sense that this had anything to do with Summer Wells. But they have identified that boy that was found. And this was right before Christmas, I believe that they, yes, 4 days ago. So it was the 22nd. There was a report out that the remains were from Logan Nathaniel Bowman. Here's the thing I want to stress about that, because I really don't know much about the circumstances behind it. We'll have to dig into it and do a follow-up more than what I'm doing tonight. But here's what I wanted to say about this for now, for the moment, is that is that um, justice is going to be had. I believe his mom and her boyfriend or her dad or his dad rather, the little boy's dad, um, are in jail. Virginia was very smart about how they went about this. When they went and originally charged them with his disappearance, it was for the neglect of the child that was obvious and the lack of reporting. But they suspended the sentence, or they suspended a portion of the sentence. This way, if they had ever had evidence, if they ever had found him and identified him, that suspended sentence is gone. She goes back to jail, directly to jail. You're serving the rest of that suspended sentence. And then on top of that, because she was never charged, or they were never charged with neglect of a corpse, neglect of the actual cause of demise. They were never charged with anything along that. That's additional charges that they can put on them, so the child goes and gets the justice that he deserves. Because the old wives' tale of you, if I bring you into this world, I can take you out of this world, is not true. Too many times people hear that old wives' tale, whether or not it's that directly related to that or not, but that old wives' tale has no place in society. I don't believe, well, I know she was out, Miss Justice, but the way the charges were and that it was a suspended sentence, they just got to go pick her up. They know where her whereabouts, they know where she lives. They just might as well mail her a set of silver bracelets that are connected and tell her where to report. It really is just like that with a suspended sentence. Just like if somebody was on probation, just you're not reporting to a probation officer. I've been talking for a little more than an hour. I did say I was not going to be long tonight. We're right in the ballpark of where I wanted to be for tonight. But I do have a bit of an announcement. I hinted at this earlier this year, and I kept feeling like I have to wait for December. Miss Laura Croft, thank you very much for this comment once again, because this is giving me a bridge to where we're going to be going. And this is we're headed into the new year. And I'm going to tell you, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I apologize that it's not everybody's cup of tea. Some of you know that I have an innate ability. If you followed Ziggy or watched Ziggy on her backup channel, her Emperor Ziggy channel, and have interacted me within chat rooms, you'll know that I have an unusual ability that, well, she does card reading and all that, and I have nothing against that. I have a unique ability where I don't read cards, but I hear what spirits say. Going into the new year, I haven't done this yet, so you'll have to watch for my community page, community post to know what's going on with this. But on New Year's Eve, it's actually Carrie. I locked myself out of that channel. We'll have to talk about that privately. I locked myself out of that channel, and I cannot get the password reset. So that channel is not going to have that. I'm gonna. This is watch my community pages. I do have a backup channel. I'm probably going to use that and turn it into what this is going to be. Starting on New Year's Eve, I'm going to be doing a predictions show of things that I think are going to happen in the new year. I'll probably, let's see, New Year's Eve is Sunday. This is probably going to be, I have to discuss the time with my mods to make sure I have the right time or a time that they're going to be okay with. But this is probably going to be a little bit earlier than on a Sunday than what I normally do, because I don't want to, I know there are larger channels that people pay attention to, and people will have plans for New Year's Eve. So I'm probably looking at mid to late evening, or afternoon type of deal. Anyway, this is going to be the launching of a channel where we can talk about cryptics, and we can talk about paranormal, and if you want to know, if you want to get if you want to present something that's going on to you in your life that you want to get some opinion on of what spiritual guidance. Again, I don't do tarot cards for now. I'm going to experiment with that and possibly add that on. But this will be the channel that you're going to find that information, that kind of thing on. Again, it's not going to be the one that Carrie's posting. It's probably going to be the channel I have back as a backup right now. I'm going to rename it and use it for that. I just watch my community page, and we'll also I'll get that out there. You're good, Carrie. Don't worry. So to answer Lara Croft's question or statement, she said, Chloe, vampires feed on negativity. There is a such thing as an emotional vampire. Somebody that is so draining, and this happens a lot of people with that have empathic abilities, or they have or even introverts. They will deal with somebody, a particular person, and after they could be in the best of moods, best of spirits, and after they deal with or talk to this type of person, They are so drained emotionally and physically that they need to go take a nap to get through the rest of the day. Miss Justice, exactly. That is one word of saying it. That's the female word of saying it. You are correct. Um, an incubus is the male version, but there is a reality that there is a person that is like that. Like I said, I've been focusing on for the past few weeks of what I think is going to be happening in the new year. Um, I'm going to encourage everybody that is interested in that kind of thing to tune in. I will definitely post on the community page. I will probably go live shortly in the afternoon. No mods have to be there or anything like that. It's just like a little reminder type of thing that I'm going to be on that channel. Probably spend like a half an hour or whatnot just so people can catch it and whatnot. But more or less to post a link type of deal for where it's going to be. Ava, I never guarantee that. A lot of times what happens, I've only ever really one time sought out a spirit to try to connect to a spirit. Is it possible that they would? Yes. But I will not guarantee that because um, if you go back with my channel, it's not a long list of lives, but the past couple lives, it's happened more frequently. And that's really why I really, really need to get this like separated away from being true crime because a lot of people in true crime don't like this kind of thing. And to those who are concerned about what I'm saying about true crime, nothing I have ever put on here has been without finding facts. The other channel doesn't have to be about facts. It's not going to be about lies, but it doesn't have to be like based on facts, is what I'm trying to say. I can sit here and tell people sometimes, and I've done it, about a container of machine oil sitting on a sewing machine cabinet, or I can sit here and I've done it on Ziggy's channel where I've told somebody. Some of you are going to go, "Oh my goodness, he did this! I remember this." Telling some, I believe it was, I don't remember who it was. I do remember who it was. I'm just not saying because they're not here. Um, Telling them about an event that happened over a year ago and why it happened with a dish from a cabinet. It was kind of like a serving platter, from what I remember. But I don't, and I will be using a spirit box at times. I will be using things, and we'll go over all that information. That's what that channel is going to be about. Is using those devices that people think are oddities or don't understand how they work, or we're going to go over all that kind of stuff. We're going to, even though I have experience with them, we're going to break it down of how it works, why it works. I'm not no hocus pocus type of person that I'm going to pull information or something out of thin air. Or the way I gather information that will be on that channel might seem like it comes from thin air. Luminous, I'm very cautious about what kind of title I use. Um, from my experience, is using the word medium t- tends to um, make everybody think of what Hollywood presents about it, and it doesn't work exactly that way. To tell you, I can sit there and it's more like I've mentioned this movie before. Is it Greg Kinnear? Bear with me a moment here. Greg Kinnear did a movie with I can't remember his name. In the beginning of the movie, he was the Greg Kinnear character was had a piano dropped on his head, and or bus hit him. I don't remember which it was. He had unfinished business, and the movie goes into. Oh, Luminous, I actually do. The movie goes into explaining it's like it's not like the way that the TV show Medium or the other Hollywood TV shows try to really present it being. It's for me, it's more like once you start communicating with spirits and things like that, and you can establish a connection with them, um, where they start showing me that I can hear them or I can see like the images that they're trying to share with me, or things like that. Are telling me a story, are telling me what what is going on, what they need to express or say. Um, I don't like to use the word medium because everybody expects it's like Hollywood or the show TLC, where she just randomly walked up to a person and started reading them. It's not like that. Sometimes I don't have to use a photo. There's been instances where I can sit here and tell you things that they're going on. There was a I don't remember which live it was on top of my head. It was happening. There was one in Ziggy, and I'll tell you sometime on Ziggy's channel who the person is because they will be there. When she was on her Emperor Ziggy, and I was telling them about the platter. If you know who I'm talking about, yeah, I had no connection, no photo, no nothing. Just talking to them online, a spirit came to me, was telling them this is what it was about. Or the woman that I was on my channel here, and she had a bottle of machine oil for her sewing machine. Between that and a photograph that was hanging on a wall, she was the only one that would ever notice that these were being moved. And it freaked her out because I was able to sit here and tell her it was her brother-in-law who was like this. I see her like my brother or my sister. It's random for me. That connection we were talking about, Luminous, it's random. I can walk into a building, somebody's house, and I can tell them that if they live in a haunted house or not. I can tell them if the spirit that's there is okay, or the spirit they need to deal with the spirit just by walking in. So call it what you want. I'm not going to argue, but I don't put a title to it because I don't like the way Hollywood presented these things as being. I tend to stay away from that, other than to say, Miss Justice, I tend to stay away from that, other than to say that if somebody and you can ask what is Juniper's full screen name? Miss Justice, I can tell you if a person is close to meeting their demise from an illness. I can tell you if there's an area of concern that you need to have addressed by medical, but I refuse to try to pinpoint it. Juniper, okay, the Juniper's Terror and Magic. The reason I'm mentioning her is I actually did and I don't know where it is. I still have it. I put all the information in for my chart of my birth sign and my birth date and all that. And Juniper knows a lot about my ability or my what I perceive and how I perceive way better than I understand. How many times have you all, and some of you have been in with Empress Ziggy, when she will start reading cards, and before she says something about the cards and about what she's saying, I'm sitting there telling the person or I'm telling the chat the same thing. I can't read cards. I don't have tarot cards. I'm going to try to learn. Well, cosplay, you and I have also talked about what my superpowers are. I have the ability at the prophetic speak, predicting predictions. I have ability to communicate with spirits. I have to be careful what cemetery I go to. Carrie, I'm going to call on you because I know you're the witness of this. You and I, on the first anniversary of Summer Wells missing, we went to Morrison Cemetery. And I told Carrie when we walked into the cemetery three things. One area of the cemetery had three spirits that wanted to talk to me. A second area of the cemetery did not want to have anything to do with me and wanted me to leave. And the third cemetery area of the cemetery was nothing but kids. And they were really wasn't making, they didn't make sense because they're kids. When I started really focusing on what the spirit box was doing, what it wanted, what it said, when I sat down in the cemetery and I was facing the area that had said was like, I was getting my attention when I walked into the cemetery, that three spirits wanted my attention. One of the first things that they were saying was three. There was three spirits that were trying to talk to me. And they wanted to talk. And they wanted to talk not only about June 15th, but they wanted to talk about June 14th. I think we did 3 15-minute sessions that day. I think that's what it worked out to being. And it got to the point where I had to say that enough's enough. We'll have to come back another day, because that area of the cemetery that did not want me to be there were actually trying to become aggressive. Their biggest concern, Kate, was not what happened, what everybody understands on the 15th. They were like, this is a decision that was made, and it was there was it started on the 14th. What everybody needs to be concerned about is on the 14th, but they never would tell me what it was on the 14th. I left it as being where it was at that time, and unfortunately, I've never been able to go back. Um, I, I just it's just not worked out for one reason or the other that I've been able to go back. But um, they were more concerned with what happened on the 14th than they are concerned about what happened on the 15th. And they specifically said 14th. It wasn't like 14th and then some other random number. It was 14th. And I was specifically asking them about Summer Wells disappearing on June 15th, 2021. I was very specific about a date. And they kept correcting me to say it was the 14th. They want to talk about the 14th. But I want to be very clear is that I'm not going to talk about true crime on that channel. That's going to be devoted to cryptic, to the spiritual. That's going to be that side of my understanding in my world. And yes, I will have guests on there that also are intuitive in their own respects. I will have guests come on that if that may want to just join me and see how it goes, or talk with me to see, it's going to be more open channel than what I have done with this. Miss Justice, I've never gotten I didn't get an impression with it was an evil spirit. I got an impression it was one particular family that was buried in that, or a generation, a couple generations of that family that just did not want me to be there. I never felt that, to answer your question of would I need to take a priest, I never felt like I was in danger like that. I've walked into places and I've lived in places where I've had shadow people, where I've had a family of people that were living in my kitchen. I've I've seen a woman in white. I've seen I saw the shadow person. I saw there's a lot of things I've seen and have experienced. I will respectfully, if that is your belief, I'm not going to sit here and say that your belief is wrong or right. I just know my experiences are. And if you really want to know, I don't, and I actually do. When people ask me about religion, even though I do understand principles and theology, I identify myself as pagan, as in, okay, as pagan, not as in like Wiccan, but the pagan that the Tom Hanks characters talks about in the Da Vinci Code when he's giving his lecture. It's that kind of pagan that I am. Don't think I'm going to sit here and perform witchcraft, or that's not at all what's going to happen. Yes, Luminous, I do. Yes. And that's why Luminous, if you pay attention with Ziggy, a lot of times if I don't see her burning sage, I'll get on her about using sage, because I'm the same way. I have sage candles. I have sage, white sage. I do all that. I am, if there is anything, I am cautious about doing that. The one thing I don't do and won't do is a Ouija board. So probably tomorrow, I'm gonna change my other channel around. I just got to go onto a different computer that I've been busy cleaning and doing other things because I've had PTO to burn off of work and been using that up to clean and do other things, projects around my apartment and whatnot that I've been neglecting. But I did a whole entire bedroom decor change and all of that this year. Been busy doing that and setting that all up and everything. But I'm not going to be focused. The reason I'm mentioning this here tonight and now is in the new year, I'm not going to be as focused. I'm still going to follow through with Summer Wells. I'm still going to follow through with Evelyn Boswell or other stories, news stories, whether current news or world events or anything along those lines about true crime or the war in Israel or current news. I'm going to redefine this as we're just not a true crime. We're going to be more focused on news events and true crime over here on this channel. But with Summer Wells and even Evelyn Boswell, we are at a hurry up and wait. That's all we are right now, is at a hurry up and wait. Wait for more news, wait for more information, wait for a break in the case. Don't think I'm giving up on true crime. But my focus is going to be more on the spiritual channel because I feel I need to be focused on that. I need to develop that. When I say develop the channel, I'm also focusing on and working on my ability. I'm 46 years old. I had to think about that for a second. Since I was a toddler, I've always had experiences with paranormal, with being able to see the future. I sat down a baseball game one year when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. I kid you not, this memory just came back to me. I believe it was the third or the fourth inning of the ball game. I want to say it was Philadelphia Phillies and it was the Houston Astros. I can't tell you what date it was. I was too young. I don't remember. But I sat there with my grandfather was in a wheelchair. So we always had the last row of the 300 level, 500 level, whatever it was in the Veteran Stadium. That's where their tickets were. And once or twice a year that they would go and, hello, Grandma, I know you're here. My nanan is actually reminding me of this, folks. Okay. That's who my grandma was. And that was my nanan. I sat there and I said how the ball game was going to work. How the Philadelphia Phillies were going to win the ball game. I called a grand slam from a player that normally did not hit grand slams. His batting average with the players in scoring position. I know I'm getting all like throwing baseball stuff out to you guys. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Was not spectacular. His name was Michael Schmidt. He played third base. He was he's the Phillies all-time leader in home runs. However, he wasn't known to hit grand slams. I said the other team's going to walk the bases loaded. That Mike Schmidt was going to come up and he was going to work a full count. He's going to foul off a few pitches and he's going to hit a grand slam over the left center field wall. And the Philadelphia Phillies were going to win the ball game. And that's exactly how it happened. My Nana wanted me to remember that. But I've had experiences since I was a toddler. And I'm just tired of being 46 years old. And I know I have this innate ability that I need to be using. And I don't. So I'm going to be focusing on my spiritual growth, my spiritual development. And I'm going to be with that other channel. In order to do so, you need to have that interactions with people to be able to develop that. And that's what I'm going to be using with that other channel. If it goes well, and I see a future in that channel, I have always said that this channel will never be monetized. My true crime channel will never be monetized. I swear it, and I will never, ever monetize this channel. But I'll be honest with everybody and upfront with everybody. And I want to make sure that everybody is clear. If I do monetize that channel, it has absolutely zero to do with this channel as far as it being monetized. Because that's going to be a whole different thing, a whole separate thing that I want to keep separate. My apologies. I needed to take a drink of water. I've had a few soapbox moments this evening, and it caught up to me. I'm feeling a little dry in my throat. Don't get me wrong when I say that I'm going to be focused on my spiritual growth with that channel, with the perception, with prediction, with all of that, all of the things that I can naturally do. Don't doubt that I'm not confident in where I stand. I just want to have a catalyst or a way or have a point where I'm saying that it's going forward, it's going to be growing. And the reading Ziggy had done on me a few months ago, where he kept saying, wait for December, wait for December. This is what the wait for December was. And I knew it back then. But I want to be clear. I want to be upfront with everybody. I want to be um forgive the pun. I don't know how else to say it, be crystal clear that everything I've said on this channel, by either what I have said, the content I have put out there, or what other creators may have picked up on what I have said and researched themselves, because I know there is information out there that others have researched and been like, my goodness, he's right. Especially when it comes to the reputation, the the people that live on, the people associated with 110 Ben Hill Road has been always been based on facts. But Chloe Jade, you're an example of what I was saying, where you've been in the chat room and I've said something, and 5, 6 cards later, she's going, I say the same thing. She's saying the same thing. And I'll sit there and I'll start laughing and I'll be like, Ziggy, we just did it again. It's all because of she's reading cards. And again, no disrespect to her reading cards or anything like that. Okay, I've already said I'm going to get myself some and see if I can learn how to read them. But at the same time, she's reading those cards. I'm getting spirits telling me this. And sometimes I'll have a little bit more information than what the cards tell her. I didn't intend on being here for 2 hours, but I see that it's 10:30. I haven't had supper yet, so I'm going to go and fix myself something to eat. But I want to thank everybody for coming out. I really do appreciate your support. I really do appreciate you all being patient with me when I have to divert time away from YouTube because work, or because I feel that I'm getting overextended, or I just need to walk away from YouTube, but I'm always coming back. I'm still going to be coming back to true crime. I'm still going to be coming back to talking about the news and world events and things that are going on in the world, or current news. As I said, this is what this channel is going to become. It's a new current events and true crime channel. But at the same time, I'm going to be spending time over there. So watch my community page for that announcement of what that channel is. But I love you all. I thank you for coming out and listening to me tonight. I hope you have a good night. As I always say every single time, and I will say every time, do you know where your kids are tonight? No matter how old they are, how young they are, do you know where they are tonight? If you do, give them a hug, give them a call, send them a text message. Let them know that they are extremely important to you, because you never know how much that can be a difference of a good day or a bad day to a person. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. Thank you, Cosplay, for saying happy holidays there. I look forward to talking to you on New Year's Eve. If something happens in between now that we need to be on the here on the True Crime Channel, we will definitely pop up. Have a good night, all. This has been Conversations Living Room with RJ. I am RJ, and I'm out.